And here we are in another Tuesdays for Facilitation. Last episode we were in Spain. And on this one, we're going back to Senegal. Now, this is a very special Tuesdays for Facilitation. I have Hadi here. Hello, Hadi.
Hi, Ty.
And this is very special because Hadi works at Ashnaga Senegal. And for the people that don't know, Ashnaga Senegal was the very first client of Awele. I didn't even know I was doing Awele at the time. And we worked a few times together. So I'm very happy to go back to the roots. Senegal has a special place in my heart. That's why you see so many people here invited from Senegal, but also a special place in the history of Awele and our company. I am Tabarozo. This is Tuesdays for Facilitation. It's a series of lives where I invite different people from different areas to talk about how facilitation is a multi-sectorial and a timeless skill. I'm here today with Hadi. Hadi, I will start asking you what I ask everyone who arrives here. So, how do you show up when you facilitate?
Hello, Ty. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very glad to see you again and to get the chance to catch up with you and to see all the great work that Awele has been doing. So, how do I show when I facilitate and how do I show this facilitation? Very interesting. For me, I think one very first thing that is very important for me is to clarify my intention and to check the reason why I am in this specific room and what do I want to give at the end of this facilitation. So this posture is very important to me. And also, there is also a posture of acceptance, accepting that there is a reality that I will also find in the room and clarify my role as a facilitator, which basically means making things easier for the team and people I find in this room to achieve their objective. So it's very Also, it's a big how to say it's a big role for me. It's also not that heavy because I trust people I find in the room. I trust the process. I trust the system, and so I know my role is important. But I also know that everyone's role in this room is very important. Yeah.
This is beautiful. And for people who don't know the work of Ashnaga, you're going to have the chance to learn a little bit from here. And it makes a lot of sense with what Hadi just said about trusting the people in the room and trusting people's collective intelligence. So, Hadi, let's start from the beginning, right? Tell us about Kokorozashi and if you have found yours.
Yes. Kokorozashi actually is one thing that really amazes me with the work of Ashinaga, because for us, when we talk about supporting young orphans through education, it's not just providing opportunities for high school or university. It's about how we shape, how we are part of those students' life and journey so that at the end they can contribute not just to their own life but to the life of others, to the life of their communities, country, continent, and to the world in general. So kokorozashi is very important because in Japanese it means the goal from the heart. It's not just a goal, it's not just what you achieve, but why you want to achieve it. Why do you want to work on this sector? Why do you want to dedicate your life, work, energy, and talent to this cause? So it's very linked to contribution and contribution to not just one's development, but also an entire community and other people as well. So it is a core principle for us at Ashinaga, a principle uh, that students work on from the very beginning, and they actually recruited based on the beginning of this Kokorozashi and see how this Kokorozashi matches the AI principle and AI profiles. Um, and throughout the journey with Ashinaga, the entire work is how to make sure that this Kokorozashi is clear, how to make sure that the means are given to the students to make sure that this Kokorozashi can be implemented. And at the end of their journey with Ashinaga, they are ready to give to the community, to give to the continent, to give to the world the talents, the energy, but also the passion and the compassion also that is needed to implement that Kokorozashi. And it's a beautiful thing to see at the end a student trying to work based on something that is deeply rooted on them. And that's one of the reasons why we do what we do, because it comes from the heart. Yeah.
And have you found your Kokorozashi?
Uh, yes, I tend to think it's something that is on the building, something that you work on. But there is a common thread regarding my kokorozashi. Something that I would say is my kokorozashi is to offer to young people in Africa more and better opportunities to develop to their full potential. And when I say full potential, I talk about things related to leadership, self awareness, resilience, but also the most, in general, soft and the hard skills they need to make the contribution. Because we know that young people in Africa, they have dreams. They want so much for the continent. So my kokorozashi would be to participate in giving them what is needed for them to be to have what is needed to have this contribution.
I've worked with so many organizations throughout the
Mhm,
world before
mhm,
I met Ashnaga, and after I've met Ashnaga, we have a total of very diverse set of clients,
mhm,
foundations, civil society organizations, multinationals, government corporations, and I've never seen such a cultural concept so
mhm,
embedded into everyone in an
mhm,
organization as I saw Kokorozashi and Ashnaga, because I
mhm,
think it ends up it's interesting because it's just one word as we
mhm,
would translate it on English or on another language that's not
mhm,
Japanese, but it's a concept how I'd say it, so well molded, so well
mhm,
done, that I remember the first time that we did our facilitation to understand what we're going to be talking about, the leadership camp. Um, Everyone spoke about it. It was very present on our brainstorming, and I've never seen such a thing in other organizations where, there are so many things that in organizational culture that are like, oh no, we are collaborative, or we are this, or we are that, but these things tend to be a little bit, just picking up. They're not
mhm,
connectors, and I think Kokorozashi has that role. It's interesting to find the Japanese concept so
mhm,
well rooted in
mhm.
Africa, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that's interesting part of that word, uh, because our students, because they grew up in communities and they are very very aware of what is happening around. And also, for many of them, from a very young age, they have had responsibilities and they have seen things that they would like to change, maybe in a smaller level, maybe in a bigger level. Our role here is to give shape to that, to make that clearer and to make that more rooted and implemented in them, so that it gives them the energy afterwards to do the impact that they want to make, to make the impact that they want to make. And for us, it's also it resonates with us as an office in Senegal, in Africa, because we also believe that uh, most of the things you do, if you do them because they are rooted in your identity, if you do them because they are rooted in purpose, if you do them beyond yourself and for others, you are very likely to have impact. Um, and so when we talk about Kokorozashi for our students, we also check our own Kokorozashi, and Ashinaga is quite good at that, because every staff here has their Kokorozashi, and we often discuss about it, and we also have occasions where we check things that have evolved, and how in our daily work we can we can let that kokorozashi be seen through our actions, discussions, and challenges.
And I love the fact that you work with youth. I mean, we have talked about youth here in the African continent. I invited Sobel, who is also Senegalese, but works with the whole context of the continent. And I want to bring back the information that I bought when we talked. You know, Africa has the world's youngest population. You know, with over 400 million people aged between 15 and 35. Roughly 60% of the population is under 25. So by 2030, which is just in the corner, right, 4 years from now, young Africans are projected to constitute 42% of the global youth population. So the future is the youth of Africa. Ashinaga has an important role on changing the future of this future of these youth that are coming in the continent. And you have a lot of experience with that. Could you share with us one or two stories from students? We're already speaking about one student before we started.
Mhm.
We're updating on some, but I would love to hear some impact and some stories from the students who have participated in Ashnaga's programs.
Yes. So as you know, Ashinaga has both international and local programs in Senegal. So in Senegal, we are in charge of the recruitment and the preparation of students who are going to study in France. And we also have a program locally that supports Senegalese people in Senegalese universities and other schools. Uh, and most of the time, when I talk about the impact that our programs have on students, I I think about both the transformation that we see uh, in them as in personally, and also what they do, what they actually do, and the changes they actually make. So when I see our students having interviews, or when I see them interacting with other people, like I think this is something that is a great pride for us, because uh, we can see the leadership in the way that they communicate. We can see the leadership in the way that they solve problems, and they also create opportunities for themselves and for others. And for instance, we have these students from Togo. His name is Justin, and so after his studies, he studies IT, and then after he graduated, he decided to go back to Togo and have this build this startup. And the startup is currently building solutions, IT solutions, tech solutions for businesses. And it's also doing something else that to me is very important, is giving African languages a tool to be known better and to survive, because we know that we have many African languages that are challenged today to continue and to be spoken. And so what you say is working on right now is how to use technology, how to use AI to make these languages more accessible to other people. So it's not just a business, it's also a cultural and a social heritage that he's making sure that we can continue having, and we can maintain. So this is what he's doing. We also have a lot of students who are um, working or being engaged in associations or charities that work on, human rights, child protection, more opportunities for women. For instance, we have this student Rose from Uganda and Ghana. That's the two countries that she's working on right now. And what she's doing is providing more opportunities for training, for entrepreneurship for women, so that they can learn skills and also create activities that can bring them revenue and make them more independent and financially autonomous. Yeah, and I can talk about a lot of as example. So our students, whether they create their own companies or they go and work for other companies, there is this thing that is very that is that determine them all, that is common to them, is, well, the willingness and yes, they're very willing to impact, and they're very committed to impact as well. Yeah.
It's, I've participated in programs while I was young. I'm still young, but
Mhm.
I've participated
Yeah.
in one program. The name of the program was Choice, and it
Okay.
was about social entrepreneurship. It's a Brazilian program, but it had a name in English. And I'm still really, this was in 2012. I'm still really good friends with many people that participated in the many programs, even though we were not in the same cohort.
Mhm.
But it's interesting because every now and then we go on the WhatsApp group and we're like, how was your experience for you? And they're all like, well, it actually did change my perspective of future as work. Many of us have actually chosen to work with impact areas, have actually worked to work with things that are good for the environment, that are good for other human beings, not necessarily charities, but a
Mhm.
lot of us changed our perspective of what professional success is. And
Mhm.
I think Ashnaga has a very interesting way of preparing the students for that. And as I said, you guys prepare the students to go abroad.
Mhm.
It's not just, here's a scholarship, just go on. You are really born to create a community where they're connected with each other, where they can help each other and exchange. Some of the students go to Japan, so they
Yeah.
have to learn another language, which is
Mhm.
completely different from any of the many languages they already speak. But you also involve, the office is fully involved into this sending or preparing the students to go to another continent, right?
Yeah.
What are the main skills that you have developed as a leader with this work, that you have seen your team develop, or that you have seen, the students develop throughout this
Mhm.
process?
Mhm. Yes. Um, I would say one thing that is very common to the team is that we realize that the work we do comes with a lot of exposure, and I say it in a very positive sense, meaning it is so deep, and it's so related to transformation, that you cannot be working with Ashinaga and with those students and not going through a transformation yourself.
This is so beautiful.
So this is a common realization from our team. So it comes with something that we cherish, which is vulnerability, because for you to be able to show, the different perspectives, um, uh, the challenges that come with growth, vulnerability is a must. It's a path that you must go through. But the beautiful thing about this is also, once you're willing to take this path, you also open doors for courage. You open door for growth. You open door for all the beautiful things that you can have, and impact as well. And you also open door for something that I cherish, which is also authenticity. And so you can change the whole posture. So I think if I am to say the what the team develops while working with Ashinaga and with the student is, I would say authenticity is something. I would say courage is something, and also just the willingness to trust the students and trust the process. Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah,
It's a very strong skill to take to life. How
yeah.
about students? Because I mean, they're fully unimpacted for that too,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
they do develop some different. I'm not going to answer the question because I know I know a little bit of this, uh,
Uh-huh.
but they do develop some interesting skills for life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would say one first thing that the student develop is awareness, again, globally speaking, because it's not given. Our students, and I think most youth, because of the hurry, and you, you must take exams, you must go from this class to the other one. You were thinking about what should I do next. What our programs allow students to do, because they give the students the occasion and the opportunity for preparation, is a pause for awareness, I think. Awareness about oneself, awareness about the community, awareness about the continent and the needs. And this is really important. And beyond awareness, I think it's about the critical thinking. We receive a lot of information from everywhere. So how do you digest this information? What do you do about this information? And how do you use it critically in order to make decisions and make your choices and move forward? One other thing is also collaboration. I think our students, from the very beginning of our programs, are kind of forced to collaborate, and because, well, collaboration is the great way also even to discover oneself beyond working with others. So they collaborate on projects, they collaborate, in order to organize how they work and live together. So those are key principle. And lastly, it's an openness to the world, and openness to different perspective, different point of view. And that's this openness that we seek when we send them abroad, but also it's an openness that helps them live abroad. And when they come back also to the continent and to the different countries, it's an openness that helps them navigate the different realities. Um, and maybe something that is not the least one, I think a drive for excellence from our students, that is really, really important. Yeah.
And I think that drive for excellence, some of them already got into them because participating in the whole process to be accepted to get a
Mhm.
scholarship
Mhm.
and everything is very tough. The continent is very big, as we
Yeah.
said. There are many young people in the continent also wanting an opportunity to go and study abroad in the
Mhm.
many different in the many universities around the world.
Mhm.
Um, as you're speaking, I was remembering that on the first camp that I facilitated, on the first leadership camp that I facilitated, we had, I think, 12 or 14 students. They were all from different countries. Each and every one of them were from different countries. And then at some point, they are discussing, and then one of them was from Burundi. And
Yeah.
Burundi is such a tiny country, right? When we compare it to the other African countries. And the guy was like, "Oh, you shut up. You're from Burundi." And then
Mhm.
everyone was looking like, "What are you talking about? Why is that a problem?" And,
Yeah.
and, then, and then I'm like, "What is this?" And they're like, "Never met someone from Burundi."
Yeah.
And we have had an interesting also interaction
Yeah.
in the
So
same group,
mhm.
where we had a discussion that I allowed them to choose the discussion that they wanted. So they would sit on a fishbowl. It's a method that I use a lot. And it was a group of, I think there was only one or two girls. I think there was one girl only on this program. Um, and the thematic that the guys wanted to bring up was that woman, about gender norms in their culture. But then what wish list they were talking, and and the girl was there, trying to understand what was going on also, because she's letting the guys talk. Let the guys talk about what's the role of the woman. I'm the only woman in the room. Like, what? While they're doing it, they're like, they found out that the gender roles that they thought was common to all of the dudes in the room, they're very different from one country to the other, and from each and every one of them were raised. So we got into a very deep discussion about something, and then they start talking about their sisters, their mothers, and then we're able to get to the one girl in the room to be talking more about it. That discussion was very fruitful. Like, it was very interesting because they took the time to understand each other in that concept, in that context, but also the time to bring it to reality, right? So what are we building on looking forward?
Yeah. Yes, that's a very interesting thing that you point here regarding our reality. The reason why it's very important for us to have students from different countries is, one, we want to give the opportunity to the maximum of students in different countries, but also it is also related to um, the philosophy behind Ashinaga. When we gather youth, we are aware that when we gather young people from different backgrounds, we are also creating an opportunity for exchange. We are creating an opportunity for negotiation, discovery, and growth. So when we have so many young people from so different countries come and discuss, each and every one of them has the opportunity to discover from 15, 13 as a country. So that's really, really interesting. And this is where you see them negotiate. This is where you see them say, so this is happening in this country. I did not know that. So yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, and
And
we were
it's
really glad, Sai, that you could facilitate that for them. I think that's also one of the key the key factors for our students' development. We talk a lot about what the staff bring to them or what they can bring to each other as a community, but also having external facilitators, external people who are external to the organization come with the expertise and then facilitate this journey for the students has been very valuable, and we find this exposure very precious in terms of facilitation, guest speakers, because this preparation is a lot about experiences, allowing the student to have different experiences and get enriched by this.
Oh, thank you. It For many of them, it was their first time interacting with a Brazilian too. Which, at the end of the day, when you look at their diversity as the participants in the camp, me being from Brazil, which is South America, so I'm far, far away, and then good part of the office being also from foreign countries, mostly from Europe, and from other African countries too. So it's interesting how you can see that diversity of people and that the diversity of discussions are literally everywhere. And then there's a Senegalese culture part that I think plays an interesting part in Senegalese office. Maybe Senegalese people like to discuss, and it's interesting to see people from other countries. The students being from different African countries, sitting down and doing what any Senegalese you see any Senegalese doing after lunch. We're now going to discuss about this subject, and then you see how them being in another in a second African country far away from theirs, they're also acquiring some of the cultural abilities to be there, right? Some of the cultural skills.
Yeah, and yeah, there is a lot of adaptation needed from them. And one funny thing, we are talking about the subject they can discuss, and how to discuss those subjects, and when and what words to use, because obviously different languages use different styles to talk about things and certain subject. But there was also something around food during
Yes.
our camp. And our main challenge really was, okay, how to make sure that the food that we cook is not too spicy for some
Yes.
people, or is not
To blend for
too
others.
bland, yeah, too bland for others. So yeah, and then we would have, every Friday we would have feedback from the students, and it was really funny seeing some people say this was too spicy, and the others like, no, I think we could use some more spice. So yeah, but it was adaptation for them, definitely. And again, these are the type of experience that are really important for us, even geographically, not just um, pedagogy, what we bring in terms of
Uh-huh.
experiences, but for students moving from their countries to Senegal, or sometimes they would go to Uganda as well, to those two African countries, it's a great discovery for them. And even now, when you talk to students who have graduated, one of the greatest experience about Ashinaga, the shaping experience about their Ashinaga identity, was when they went on the camp to Senegal or Uganda, because they were there, it was live, and they got to discover beyond the Ashinaga. They were also discovering a city, they were discovering a country, they were discovering a people, and they were also discovering Wolof.
Oh
Hopefully
yes.
that,
And
yeah.
they are also trying to find out which one is the best jollof rice.
Yes. Yes, yes. Mhm.
But it is beautiful. It's something beautiful to see. It's something that I speak wholehearted because it's something that I've seen and I've seen for a little while. I've worked in a few camps. I've trained the team too on facilitation and experience design. So when I started this season of Choosers for Facilitation in English, I'm like, no, I have to get Hadi here. Let me see if she's still at Ashinaga. And I'm like, that's great. We're gonna be able to talk about it. We've come to our time. Thank
Mhm.
you so much,
Thank
Hadi.
you. Thank you, Tai. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am very glad to reconnect again. I'm very glad to see your shiny face and have this conversation with you. This is really a pleasure.
So, from all of the transformation Ashnaga has done, I think I'm the result of one too. Me and Awele, in that sense, me and my company. That's where we were born. That's where we were created. And was Ashnaga the one? I wasn't your student. I didn't receive a scholarship. But I did receive an opportunity, which made me want to do more, and that's how I'm here today. So thank you once again.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye bye.